Welcome back to class, dear students. In this lesson, I'm going to take you through Git and GitHub. So, in the previous lesson where we were setting up Web3 developer toolkit, the essential things you need to set up a Web3 development environment, no matter the blockchain you want to be developing smart contract for or on your dApp. We have done that, and one of those things I mentioned then was Git and GitHub. That this is a very essential tool that must be in your Web3 development toolbox. So here we are in the lesson as promised. Let me explain it further. We try to set it together, and always having the consciousness. A lot of you might not have coded before, and you are following this course to get started from no coder to a pro Web3 developer. So I will try to take it step by step, and that's why I will do some practical things step by step for you to learn a lot more about Git and GitHub. So we understand what this sets it up, and then know essential Git command for everyday development tasks. Understand the concept of open source contribution and their benefits, which is majorly facilitated by Git and platforms like GitHub. There's also something like Gitbucket or things, but majorly I have not used most of them. I purely just use GitHub, and that is the most popular among all those kind of remote online Git hosting platform. So now, what is Git? Git is a distributed version control system that helps you track changes in your code over time. Now, if you have ever done anything that relates to maybe designing something or trying to write a content, but then you need to iterate, that's how code works. You build something now, later you need to add more feature, but while you are attempting to add a feature, something can break, that even the previously working feature can break. So you don't want issues like that. And what about if you can have a way that, okay, now I've developed this project, let's say code A, I want to integrate another feature or some things which will now turn it to code B. If there is a way I can have 100% code A saved somewhere, many of us, you as well, has done that, and then when I move another place that I can call code B, then I can do any adjustment. In case anything break, I can quickly go back and either totally revert back to A or copy A and then try to restart those things. But I don't want to take A, try to work on it directly to make it B, then got broken. Even what makes it work for A to be approved is no more working again, then I get everything messed up. So that is where Git comes to our aid as developer. You understand? So it goes beyond just web developer. So you are able to keep versioning of your code. Like, okay, version 1, this is what runs it. So anybody can go back to run the code. Version 1.2, this is what runs it. And then another thing is the GitHub. So it's now like an online platform that hosts Git repos. So Git is just the versioning system you have on your computer, but this GitHub is like hosting it. When you create, what you create is what they call Git repository. So when I create a project now, I have my code. It is referred to as a repository. So for you to now not lose it, instead of being on your system, anything can happen to it, or you change system, or you travel, you might not even go with that particular PC. It might even be desktop, so you can't move it around. So what about you have those same code as their version A, version B, version C, they are hosted somewhere for you, which is platform like GitHub, Gitbucket, and Co. Like I said, I have more experience with GitHub. So that is majorly what this platform is about, and we'll still see it, and when we go to the setup and do some practical exercise with them. So setting up Git and GitHub. Git setup guide, refer to the official for details. So here now, if you click, we come here, said you can do this if you want to install Git, but usually I think Git come by default with a lot of this new OS, but at least you can try it with this first on your PC or terminal. Remember the terminal I say is so important. Moving forward, that's what you'll be using for any development you are doing. So as long as you are doing it on your PC. So remember in that when we set up a lot of all these tools, yeah, so this the same terminal. I can just create a new one here or continue to use this. So let's just create a new one to make it cleaner. Then I can say, I think I copied something there, Git version. Yeah, so this is it. I have Git version 2.341. so your own version, depending on when you are watching, might be different. So if you see error like Git not available, command not available, it shows you don't have it installed. So depending on your OS, follow the instructions you have here. So if you're on Linux, you just take this and put it in and you get it done. I already have it, so that's why I'm not installing it again. I just want this to check the version. But if you don't have it yet and doesn't come by default, just use the code command there to set things up. Now once you are done, you have it on your system, you can see it now. You can start using it when you are coding, when you have your project. You remember we install IDE like what do you call it, for our Visual Studio Code. Yeah, so we'll use a lot of them here together. Now the next one says GitHub. So you can go to GitHub and create an account. It's free, so if you are there, you can follow me if you so desire, and follow especially follow the dProgramming University. Yeah, so you can follow it as well. Now what this does, just like you have your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook tweets, then Facebook for your non-post, your YouTube for video, this is for code. So it is like the social media for developer that is majorly about code. Keep track of your code, and then it also facilitates what you call collaboration, because with this now, once the code is there, other people can copy it, they can fork it, they can, if you make it open, that's what we call open source. So it also helps with open source, which means your code is available. Like now, the code that Google runs is not available. The code that Facebook runs is not available. The code that iOS runs is not available. So all those ones, we call them closed sourced because they are source code. That's what they call source. So closed sourced code or closed source code. So they now show to open source code, closed source code. So to open source, closed source. So when you look at it, that's a lot of things you can do. So you just go to the github.com and set up an account, and make sure you set up some security for account, because this matter to you. And when you are working, maybe when you start a project, and you don't always need to make it public, you can make it private pending when the project will be ready to be released, or if you decide, you understand things like that. So all those options are there. We'll create a repo together so that you can learn and do some things to as well together. So the first thing I want to do is to create a repo under this one is organization. You will open this is an individual account, this for organization account. So you will open this individual. Now I want to create a repo under here. You go to create, if you click down, you see new, import, and all those things. You have different things here that shows you can pin repo you are working, and this one shows you how active you have been pushing code to GitHub. You can see. So all this during January, February, March, April, May, like August, September, I was super busy pushing different code, working with different blockchains and things like that, creating content and more like that. So, but like October, November, seems I was sleeping. So all this just show you how busy you are with code, working on them and things like that. So, and then maybe back by December. I think all this time I was, marketing and doing a lot on the 100 days boot camp for the programming, which we are in already now. So now that's majorly. Then you can create a repo, import a repo, new code, then you can create organization like the one the programming is using. So you can have all that. So now I want to create it under the programming. So you go to create new repo. Then is it templates? If you have a template you want to use, I'm not using template. So the owner should be the programming. Yeah. So make sure you always select the right. If you have multiple, like you have an individual and maybe an organization. So I want to create this under the programming. So what I actually want to do is, for this we have the project here that gives you some guidelines. So I'm going to follow and execute this. So you learn a lot practically and could also help guide you in making sure you do this project. So it's not just about the project. We are in AI age. A lot of these things you can just ask AI. We'll still learn it in the lesson. But what really matters is you are doing a project that forces you to get practical experience. So, and for the fact that I'm doing this doesn't stop you from doing, because there's just know how you can copy things here without doing. Yeah, you'll be figured out and you won't get the certificate. So now let's try and see. This is what I want to create it for, which is now start this. Now let me correct this. Yeah, Spotlight Project AI Enhanced Web3 Blockchain Development 101 course. So it said it's available. Good. So if it's not available, it will tell you. Then this is super long, but it might be short, but I did it that way because it's about the project that we are dealing with. So this, I'm coming. Here you have the description. I already have some of the content to use, so I don't spend more time typing. Welcome to Spotlight Project for AI Enhance. Follow instruction below to complete your project submission. So these are the description. What's the project about? This is a repo about a dApp that help you keep fund, a dApp that help you do this. You understand? Then this is what I was saying. Anyone on there can see this repo. You choose who can commit. So you try and pick private. For example, if I'm working on this repo, I may still want to make it private, but for now I don't want people to have access, because once I do public, either the code is complete or not, it's already available online. So if it is something that is interesting, someone might accidentally stumble on it while you are still working on it, and you don't even want a majority of people to know about it yet. So, but if not, make it public, so that I make it public because this is something you actually still work on. Then initialize the repo with a readme. So this is where you can write a long description for your project. So you can add a readme if you want to start. That readme, what readme does is to give info about what the project is about. That's what people will see when they first come for the project. So you can add it there. I think I may not, so that I can show you some steps. Like I said, I want to make it in depth for you as much as possible. So let's not add. So if you plan to add some content, push it from the what they call, like now you want to install a framework like Next.js, React and things like that, and you want to push it from your PC, then you may just skip this for now, so it doesn't put any random readme, and we'll do it later so you will learn. Then the license, if you don't choose license, it's I think MIT or something like that. That means people can use the code. If you don't want people to use the code, all this something are there, and you yourself can pick any license you want. So add git ignore. So if you want to add git ignore is used for some things you don't want to be committed, because when you are working, you will still, as you do when we start doing front end and all those things, you will see the work of git ignore very well. Because when you are working on a project, there are times 1,000 files, 10,000 files, or even more, especially when it comes to Node.js files. So you don't want to commit those things because they have no use. It's only for you when you are working on them. So those things, or like you are working with env, which is like your private key, building your dApp, you don't want to commit it, because once people have access to your private key or seed phrase, to your wallet and things like that, but you want to use it to build up. So all those things are things that you need the git ignore for. But for now, we just want to create an empty something so that we can clone and do a lot more with it. So here we have it, which we say we should create repository. So I think we have everything done. Spotlight. I want to ensure you have this experience. So that's how solid DPU content has always been. Always considering beginner. If you already know all this, you can skip it. So the principle I always work with is it's better you have a lot of the video you skip because you are experienced, but beginner could take everything and learn and become up to speed to be experienced, than beginners are lost. No. So here we have it now. Start coding. Then you can see quick setup. If you have done this kind of thing, you have this HTTP and SSH. So SSH is another way you can access your GitHub. Usually I set this up when I want to have multiple GitHub from different, like now you are a developer, you have your own GitHub account. Even if you have an organization, it's still, if it's under the same individual account, you can access it straight. But then you are working with another company, they give you access to their GitHub, which you are directly working. You are not cloning to your own and pushing. You are directly an admin or somehow moderating or working directly on that GitHub. In such a case, you may want to run multiple GitHub. So that is when SSH is super helpful. But if not, you can just set up your basic something. If for the first time, it will ask you to log in, which you will see some, you might not be logging because I'm using it, but I'm just telling you in case you encounter it, you'll be able to fix it. So we have created this repo, you can see it. GitHub/dProgramming University Spotlight project. So you see it now, but there's nothing here. It's purely empty. You can see that's the project we just created now 2 minutes ago. So you can't compare it with this a Solana Solidity SPL token repo. I just want to show you something. So any of these repo, when you work with them and they are helpful, always remember to star it. It's just like you are giving it like on other social media. It's so important. Good, you have it now. You can see that this, like the readme is this that tells you what the project is about. That about we did then will come here. So then you see a lot of things in here, and this is the git ignore, things that will be ignored that won't be pushed when you push from your PC, which will still do. Then the libraries, all these ones depend on, all these ones are not, they are based on the project you are working on, but the readme, the git ignore are usually like a standard, and every other thing depend on the project you are working on. So that's just to show you, but this is just pure because we make it an empty repo, and you can pin it so it can be at the front page of your account if you want the project to be at the front page. So when people land there, they usually see it. So we have a quick step. We need this HTTP, and let's quickly go back to the lesson. So we have some essential git command. So when you are using git, there are some commands you use, like git clone. You clone a repo, git add, state changes, git commit changes. All these things you will see, we will use almost all of this because I try to put those almost everyday use if you work with GitHub. There are many, but most of them are not what you usually use daily. But these are basic you will usually use as a Web3 developer. So then we have learned about open source repo where anyone can contribute. Contributing to open source projects on GitHub is an excellent way for Web3 developer to gain experience, collaborate with others, and contribute to community. So you can use it to learn with reward project, network, open opportunities for yourself. So it's good. I've contributed to some open source projects as well. So now let's get back to this. So this also, we have things like main. All this you will learn about it. These are like branches. This is what I was telling you. You can have a code here and another here, but even inside this main you can have commit of each code A, code B, and then you can go back to them any other time in case you mess up something or you need to retrieve anything. So back to where we are. So let's get this done. First we need to copy this HTTP, this url.git, that's the URL of the repo.git. We copy it, then let's come here, and inside there I want to open a terminal. So it's now in desktop. So in that terminal now, what I want to do is I will do git clone. Remember that command, the git clone command, then followed by the URL you copied there from that HTTPS, you see it. So once you do that, you enter. So what you are doing when you talk about cloning is that you are making 100% copy of that GitHub repo onto your system so that you can work on it. So there is another one called fork. Fork means you want to make 100% of that same repo, but not on your local system, but you want to have it on your own GitHub repo as well. So those are part of the project you do. So make sure you pay attention very well. So you try to fork it. I will do all those things for you because I need you to be solid. I need you to understand all these things basically, and many of you, all you need is to pay attention, rewatch this lesson over and over till you grab things and fix things. Don't jump around asking questions of what I've explained. I may not respond to you. So, because I dislike it when I give a lot of time and resources to create this helpful content, especially if it's free, and then some people are too lazy to spend time. They say the video is long or this, to spend time to learn what they ought to learn, especially as beginner. Then they will come back asking questions on that same time. I don't respond to such. So at times when you ask questions, even in comment of the lesson, I don't respond. That may be a sign that you should go and read the lesson and rewatch the video from the beginning to end. They are there. So now you have this, and you have that already cloned. Yeah. So it's a cloning. So this is the name. The name is super long. That's usually not the name you will use for, but for the purpose, so you cd into it. So cd means go to the document. So that's it. You see now that I'm now, let me expand this. So it's not like I'm right inside that document now. So if I do ls, you see it's empty because it's actually empty. Let's check it on the system. There is it here. You see we have cloned it, and if I click on it, it's actually an empty folder. So now remember it's empty. we are here. It's empty as well. So we need to put our content. I want to put content and then push it back for you. So for you to be sure if it will push back to this repo, and this clone, when you clone and want to push back, you can always push back to your own GitHub account, either organization that you have access to, that you have signed into. So for you to confirm if you are connected to that, your repo, and where it will push to, you can check something like, if we go here, we come back here and do a lot of this will be very helpful for you. Git remote v. So we use it to check the link GitHub repo to a current project. So whatever you are working on here is your project. So I think for us to see it clearly, let's open it in our Visual Studio Code. Usually in that folder you want to open, just put code dot. That means anytime you are using dot in command, that means that folder you are in. So let's open this. Good. So we'll enjoy it better, a bit better. Yeah. Let me minimize this and then expand this. So we can see this right here. Yeah, trust the author. So that I can open, you see that it's purely empty, and this much more better than using it directly here. So now we are here to continue this same terminal. In your VS Code, you click on terminal and click new terminal. So you see it's like the same. And then if I do the same ls, it's empty. It's returning empty because there's nothing there. So now let's get started with using some of those. I want to use that git something, git remote v. You see it's telling me the repo I'm using. Let me try to, yeah, so you can. Do you see it now? Cause this. Remember that same one we clone? The origin for fetch and for push. You see, because I have access, I've logged in my GitHub already on the on this PC, so you can see it. So he said I can fetch from it and I can also push to it. So if you don't have access, you won't be able to push to it. So that's, you should make sure you have this, and it's part of what you can now, once you do this in your projects, you can screenshot it so that I will know that you are the one that is doing this project. So you will understand it when you get to the project. But just to let you know, so let's have this. Then the next thing we want to have is to put up the content. So I have the content here. I just want to copy. So this is what I will now be working on now. I want to have a content here, so I can just use this. Create a file if you want to create folder, but I'm creating a file. Remember that readme is usually capital then .md, that's markdown. The language, programming language you usually use on, or scripting language or whatever you want to call it, on Git or Git. So see, as GitHub. So we'll still learn about all this AI in the next lesson. For now, I have what I want to copy, so I don't need to ask AI. So I have this now, and I think there are windows you can use. Good, you see it here. Oops. So there are windows you can use to preview how it will look on GitHub. So you can see this, what you see me have written. And welcome to the spotlight, the project instruction, the section summary. So this is like you want to summarize what you learned in each of the lessons. That would be the project. You will see it when you get there. So you want to put your response and all those things like that. So, but now I am showing you how I created that repo that you will be working, so that you learn how repo are being created. So I can bring this much down. Usually you bring it more down so that you see whatever you are doing here, you can see it. So if I did anything here, response, yes, you see it, it shows up. So I can save it. I have the readme.md already here now. So if I come back here, some of those commands you want to run, like you see here, git status. Git status shows you like, okay, this is the status of the project you are working on now. For example, let me do this. Let me delete this. I ought to have moved to trash. Yeah, tried it for you. Paste. Do you see it now? On main branch, main, no commit yet. So the main, you can remember when I was showing you this is the main. That's the main repo. Then there can be also some sub under it, which are branches. As you work on this thing, don't be confused. It's about, I was confused as well as beginner, but it's about working. So that's why mastering web development, Web3 development, or as a developer, is not about the number of courses you've taken. It's about practicalizing those things. As you do it day by day, it become normal. Remember when you first open Facebook or Twitter and they look so complex with a lot of things to do, but today you know every in and out of them, or Microsoft Word. So it's just about doing more. It's not about dropping it and getting scared won't solve the problem. So that's what we'll be able to, we have here now, but it's empty. Now let's get back. You see that it says branch. Now if, let me try if I can, good. Was I able to do that? now I've created this readme. Let's try that same again. If you put your cursor here and you do the up arrow, it will bring those code you have done before. So since you are doing the same thing, let's say git status. Do you see it now? On branch main, like this, on no commit yet, you see, no commit yet. On tracked files. So it's telling you that you have this file here, but it's not present in your remote. Remote is the one online. Your normal one is like your local system that you have here. So it's trying to tell you that you have not committed this, you have not added it to be tracked by Git. Remember, we said Git help you track your code. So you need to commit it. The process of adding your code to that Git to help you track is called commit. So like I said, all these things will be super confusing in the beginning, but as you stick in there, you will get better at it. So now let's take this untracked. How do we now add it so that it become tracked? Because we need to push this back. We can't push it now because there's nothing. For us to push means you want to, like, let's say publish or post or tweet. So the term, each platform have their own term. So it's like you tweet it, then it goes to Twitter. You have composed it. If you don't tweet it, it goes nowhere and you can't see it. So that's the same thing. If you don't commit it, you won't be able to see it tracked on your system. Then if you do and you don't push it, you won't have it here, which is like your open place digital remotely on GitHub, where you can have access to it in case you don't have access to your system or whatever. So, and you can see it's already telling you source control here that you have some things that you have not commit. So now let's take it one after the other again to continue. So if I try to do git push, you see what I'm saying? Fail to push some ref to does not match any. You understand? So now let's do this. Now we have the head and the main. Your own local something is called the head, and the main is this GitHub. So they have to be on the same one you are done. Let's see. So the first thing I want to do now is let's add. If you go back here, I'm trying to show you how useful these things I put here are for you. So you do the git add. Paste, enter. This dot means everything that is not tracked here. You want them to be tracked. And you see instantly, you see something like this. So all this, maybe later when we are doing front end, there are some plugins you will install that can help you to track a lot of things when it comes to, I think you can just get it. Let's see. Yeah, extension installed. I think the one doing that for me is this. Yeah, Git Lens. So if you install Git Lens, it will help you. You see on chart, you see all those things. So it help you to chart, adjusted to be changing the ID and all those things. So it's a good something you can Git Lens. Just search it here for Git Lens. I see yes. Yeah, so okay. So this is it. You install it. It's free. So let's get back. So this is the readme now. Let's close this welcome, and you can see it here. You can close this at any time, and we can reopen it when we need it. So that's useful when you are doing and want to be seeing what you are doing. Now, in Markdown, not other things. So for Markdown, here now we are done. Let's do the Git status. This help you to know the status. Do you see it? That has changed from unchecked. Let me put this up. From unchecked files, which is in red, readme, to green, which changes to be committed. So it's now like tracking it that, okay, once you try to commit, now these are the files that will be added as part of the changes. So, and it's a good thing when you are developing, as you code, add small feature or something, push, in case anything can go wrong or things, you have where to recall to push to GitHub. So this is it now. I've told you if it is something not an open source project, you can use private, even if it will be an open source, but at that point in time, it might be a lot of projects you will work on, you may not finish it, so you don't want people to even see it yet. So make it private, push to it, and then when you are done, you can make it public. So this is it now. It's ready. You can see all those changes are becoming open, but it's still saying no commit. You have not done or any commit to be pushed or anything like that. So now I need to push this. Let me put git. I'm trying to show you, I try my best to ensure I put common things. Before I push, I need to commit. So, because let's try push and let's see. You know, we tried it then, didn't work. Try again, there's still error, because after you add, you need to actually commit it. So it's tracked, and you see this is saying untracked. So you see it at those things, git length changes, all those things as well. So we need to git commits, paste. So your commit message, that's when people saying, what's that changes? Oh, I just added this, I just did this. It's so important. What do I want to do? Spotlight projects repo readme.md file. So always make sure, because all this can help you later when you want to track, okay, what changes do I do here? And so it's very important. This is not where you just are ABCD or coded something. Then it's not a good practice when you are collaborating with other people, which you will do a lot. So you can see it now. Let's click. You see the main root, and you see this disappeared because it's now tracked. And another good thing about this git length is, if I click here on any aspect of the code, it can tell me when that code was like committed. Maybe after committing to start showing, you will see it there, and to even be showing it somewhere down here. So I love that feature so much. So let's see. You now see this has been done. It's one file change, which is just this readme, and 76 insertion. That's like pages and things we work on, and all those things. Create mode. So if we go back, you always do that. Let's now check the status again. Can you see it? On branch, compared to this, your branch is based on origin/main, but the upstream, that's the one upstream, is your main, which is this. The one that is that is offline is called the origin. So the head is like, where is it pointing to? Yeah. So when you have the head pointing to origin and main, then things are streaming together well. So, but the upstream is gone. You see now, because you now have a kind of update that the main doesn't have. So use git branch to fix, no, nothing to commit working tree. So you see that I said nothing to commit, changes to commit. Here now it was saying on check file, then change to changes to commit, and your branch is based on this and nothing to commit, because every changes now is now committed, added to the git already and ready. The only thing left now, as of now, you are done. The only thing is just you now also want to like push it to Git repo so that it have a backup online on GitHub. So that's it. But now we're already done things. That's why we now have the main. So then we need to use this, which is git push commit to a remote repo. So we have our commit, that's our tweet or our post, and pushing it. This is it. So if I go back here, so you can always expand this as you want based on, if you are working on this, you bring this down. If you are working on this, you can bring this up as much as you want. So let's paste this back, or we even have it there. If I scroll back, git push, you know the push you have been doing that was giving us error. Let's try it now. Cool. Can you see it said the main? This is what they call the head. You see now the branch. So everything is now working together. So you can see it. If I try git status again, you see on branch main, your branch is up to date with origin/main. Instead of your main upstream is gone because it's not the same again with this origin. But now everything, both the origin and main, they are on the same page. So you can see it now. So let's go back and see what we have done on GitHub. Let me duplicate this so we see the difference. So this the Spotlight project now. So do you see it now? That before it was this empty, nothing showing me. You see, those are the things we did. We commit git remote add origin. So assuming you don't have this origin before, you can add it to push to, but you see we already have it because we clone directly from it. Then git push u origin. Those are the things we did. Now let's check. Do you see it now that we have the main? So if you have any other branch, you see we only have one branch. It will tell you how many branches. This one have 4 branches. That's why if you do this, you see it. So I usually use this to test. That's like Solang version 1, version 3.2, and then V3 before I push it to this one. So we still talk about that when you talk about what do they call it, in terms of the repo when it comes to adding content and all those things. So this is it now. You have this done. You can see your repo is now. So this is image. I think it wasn't done well, but all these are what you need to submit. Make sure the URL of the remote in your screenshot match. So for example, you see that this image is broken. Yeah, it's broken because you need to add it. So let's quickly go back and do that. Here now we can have a folder and call it images. So we want to put our image there. So like in the something repo I told you, you can, I think git remote v. It shows your repo where it's connected to. So let's say, for example, I take up a screenshot of this. Yeah, let's take that screenshot. So I have this image now. I can just drag the image. Oh my God. So I'm dragging my image inside here so you can see it now. So I can rename it screenshot. Let's say my project or whatever. Project screenshots. Yeah. So you have this .png. Then if we check here now, let's see git status, you can see it that your branch is up to date, but you now have on track file that's still on your system. It's not even added to git at all. So you have that, and we need to be sure we have this done. Let me see. So this is where the image, the URL of the image should be added to it. So inside there now we have the copy relative paths. Then let's go here. Hopefully I get this right. Slash images, you see it now. So screenshots. I don't need this to come. So we can have this. We have this. So hopefully let's try and see. I think it should load here. Can we load the image here? Oh, it seems it's just okay. If this doesn't show, no. So now the next thing I want to do, at times to just remember some of these things could get you like confused, literally. That's what I was searching for since. Just close this, good. So now we have this open now. We have this is saying we have image, which we just created, and there are some things in it. Do we have anything? Have I saved this? Let's save. You see that this now show modified. Yeah, but it's already tracked. But this one is on track because I've not tracked it. Added it to Git, so it's not being tracked. Let's make it tracked and push. Git status. Then remember git add dots, because we want to add everything. If I git status again, you see that's added to modified readme, but there's a new file. You see it now. Then the next thing you want to do is to commit. So like I told you, the more you do this, so remember, once you have this, just make sure your comment is not too long, maybe 50k or something, but also within that double quotes. Yeah. So now what we did is created images folder and added screenshot image. So what I actually did is fixed broken images. Yeah, that's what I saw created by doing this. Then enter. If I do this again, status, you can see it said your branch is ahead of origin because we have pushed there. It has created a connection now. Before it was saying the main, but now it tells you you have one commit. You can have multiple commits, but it's not advisable before you push. So now let's see this. You can try to push now. Git push. So good, this is done. If you do git status, we'll be back to everything is clean. You see, let's go back as usual. Let me try and duplicate this so we preserve. Let me refresh. Do you see it now? Good. Can you see it? Good. We have our image because it can now locate the image and compare it to this. You see, just the readme, and then the image is broken because it wasn't linking to anything directly. So here now we have the image. If I click on it, you can see it. You see, this was the image we had it. Do you see it? So I believe you have learned a lot even as beginner in the lesson. Yeah. So you've been able to learn about GitHub, set it up on your system, create account, then create a GitHub repo, clone it on your PC, add Git remote, do whatever you want to do to it, and then send it over there. You see that each time you do that, it says it, you see 2 minutes ago. Then you see these things we are doing. That's why it's very essential. Fix broken image. So people from here knows what happened. Look at this. It's a created spotlight project repo. So I can click here at any point in time. People can click and see the changes you did to the repo. Do you see it? Said this was red. I deleted like them and redo it. You see the green I added. So it's version, it check every dot changes in your code, which makes it so easier for you to review other people's code, other people to review, for you to collaborate, for you to reassess other ones, your previous code. You see it. So it shows you precisely what was changed in that specific commit. That's why it's not too more good to have too much commit or try to have too many changes before you commit. So you see it, you can commit as many times as possible. Nobody is stopping that. Just make sure a particular task is executed, then you commit before you move to other ones. So that's it for this. So we can go back. Yeah, because you can see that we are almost having equal something. The files are just small, but you now know how to add a folder, how to add images and link it in your content like your readme. So the same is what we've done here, and good. We have an image from an empty repo here to now a full based one that is functional. This will be like your project that you clone. So which the next thing you now do is for you to come here, clone, then adjust the project, and this content or these responses, you fix the answer. And like these images, now you take your own screenshots. It's so important because I will make sure I check these images and ensure the whatever you have here is the same in terms of the URL with the project you are submitting. So if you went and copy somebody else's project, you won't have the same image, or the name will be different and a lot of things. So your project will be cancelled. You won't get certification for that project, for this course. So you don't mess up yourself. Doing this will help you. Like I've told you, being lazy, even with AI, all those things, you still need to do these things practically to get it stick to your head. So it's good. You can always use AI, use all those things. We'll still learn in next lesson to check. When you forget, even on that Git status, I forget at times, depending on if I didn't work on GitHub for a long time, or Git or project like that. So I do other things apart from just pure coding, researching, creating content and all those things. So at times I may go for weeks without actually coding and pushing to GitHub. So you might just have Git remote. So you can search them online and all those things. So, or ask your AI, all those ones. But you know how to do it. You just forget the code. Down isn't an issue. You don't need to have them off head or something, or what they call it. So that's it. The last part before I end the lesson, I quickly want to do is, now, what about if you want to contribute to this project, this GitHub project? How do you contribute to like an open source project? You want to contribute, you want to push PR, that's pull request and all those things. I think I will do that in the next lesson. This lesson is already long, so that will be like how to contribute to an open source. So this has been a solid ride, and don't forget, if you got question or stuck, specific lesson have his own comment there. Join the Discord, you collaborate with other Web3 developers. But when you need specific answer from the author like me, it should be under the lesson. If you post, some of you already know, I will just ignore you. I will respond to you. Then over time, I keep repeating the same answer to the same question from different students. But here is the responsibility of the student to browse through. So if you send a question and you didn't see it published or responded to, I may delete it. That's a sign that take time to check previous questions. I may have answered your question or even update the lesson to do so. Those are your responsibility first, to make the work easier for me as the instructor, please. So that's it. I remain Solomon Foske of the Programming University. Keep the programming spirit high and alive. That's your chance to succeed in this as a developer in the long term. And please always do good to humanity and nature with your knowledge, your programming skill, and not evil, to make the world and the universe a better place for us all. See you in the next lesson. Peace.